this, and it's one of my favorite games to play. It's buy, sell, hold. You got to pick one for each category. RC, we're going to you first. North Carolina, NC State, Duke. Who are you buying? Who are you selling? Who are you holding? Who do you feel the best about?
I'm buying NC State. I love their guard play. And the biggest surprise is DJ Burns. I didn't think they'd get that out of him. The minutes that he's able to play and give them inside. He's been on a tear lately. I think Terquavion Smith is the best scorer in the league. I don't think it's close. I think Jarkel Joyner is a heck of a player himself. Casey Morsell's been shooting the hell out of the basketball, defending at a high level. They're a scary team. They can flat out score. And if they turn you over tonight, they didn't turn Florida State over as much, but they're starting to defend and play really, really well on that side of the ball. And if they can, if they can flat out score. I mean, their guards are as productive and as good as anybody in the country. I mean, explosive. Like Terquavion can flat out score it. And I said this the other day, outside of Filipowski, he's probably the highest drafted prospect in the league. I don't know if you guys can think of anybody else. I think he's a first-round draft pick, and outside of Filipowski, who in the league gets drafted over him?
I might take him over Filipowski.
I'm not saying you wouldn't. I'm just saying, but just going off of the average rankings, when you look at the entire league, name me a better prospect for where he's going to be drafted in the league.
You might be right. Baby T. I told you guys where that nickname came from, right? Baby T.
No.
We had the interview. I asked him why people call him Baby T, and he said, because my name's long, it starts with T, and I was a baby once.
You know who I gotta sell? And to answer that, I'm gonna sell Carolina only because they just are what they are this year. I don't know if they're gonna hit the magic button and just switch. There just seems to be something missing. I don't know what it is. I can't put a finger on it. Obviously, they can't. At least we know Duke is young, right? They've had some health issues and they're freshmen. What I don't get is we got seniors here, right? Like at some point as seniors, they need to figure this out amongst themselves, like Chris alluded to early. And the fact that hasn't happened yet concerns me, whereas that, okay, Duke's going to get Dariq Whitehead back. Lively is understanding what he is. They're going to get Dariq back. And it's just, they've been missing guys. Roach has been out. He's missed time. So they're freshmen and their guys has missed time. Filipowski's starting to figure things out. I'm okay with where they are right now. And I think they'll figure some things out as they go forward. At least we know they're freshmen and they're young. I don't know what we're going to say about Carolina because they're not young.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Chris, where do you stand?
I'm definitely buying NC State, for all the right reasons that Randolph alluded to, man. That Terquavion Smith is flat out ridiculous. And he's not the only guy. I mean, Joyner and Morsell and, Burns with his left hand, right shoulder. I mean, they're good. They're good. I think if you made me choose, I would probably hold on Carolina, maybe sell Carolina and hold on Duke if I had to do one of each.
Right.
I still think all three of them are going to be tournament teams. I know that's not really going out on a limb. But, to Randolph's point, Duke being young, there's a little bit of a built-in excuse. Carolina's just a mystery. Maybe in the beginning of the year, everybody's gunning for them because they're number one in the country. Everybody's, they got the target on their back, but I mean, that's not happening anymore. You got to be ready to play each night.
Outside of like a 4-week stretch last year at the end of February and in March, we basically have a 2-year sample size where it looks like North Carolina's players don't really like each other. Is that fair to say?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say, yeah. I mean, whether we say they not like each other, they obviously is not as close. And
that's the way that it appears to me. Like when I'm watching those games, when I'm watching those games, that's the way that it looks to me from the outside. Obviously, you can't know unless you were actually sitting in that locker room with them, but that's the way that it looks to me from the outside. So that's why I would sell North Carolina at this point. Like they got hot for a month last year, just like other teams have gotten hot for different months. They just happen to do it on the biggest stage. I love NC State. I'm so glad that both you guys are in on them because I think at this point they are as underrated as any team in college basketball right now, especially long term when you look at the tournament. Like what do we love in March? What does everybody always talk about? It's guard play, right? Do you have guard play? Do you have guys that can go get you a bucket? Do you have someone who, if everything gets perfectly scouted, you can just give the ball to and say, go make something happen?
Yep.
And they can do that. And I think NC State has not only one, but they have two of those guys, Baby T and Jarkel Joyner. I'm with both of you on Duke. I can kind of talk myself into them, right? Like, RC, you probably watch them most out of either of us right now because of the stuff you do with the ACC network. So how every time I watch them play, it feels like something new's coming on. Like it looks like Lively's starting to wake up a little bit. Like I think Roach had one of his best games of the season against your Demon Deacons. We got about a minute before we're done here, but am I wrong in saying that?
They're just getting healthy is what you're seeing. I mean, remember, Lively got hurt, calf issue, missed the preseason. You know, when you're dealing, and Chris, you know this, for young guys, that's vital. The start of the season, the preseason is vital. Dariq Whitehead, it breaks his foot. He misses it as well. Then he injures himself during the season and he's out. They're just getting guys back from injury. And we don't know. I think they only 12 games this year that they've had their full complement of players. It's hard to do.